Hey there, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm going to talk about Python decorators. So what are decorators in Python? Basically decorators are used to add extra functionality to our given code, and I will explain more about decorators while we are coding. So without wasting any more time, let's get directly into the coding. Now before we talk about decorators, I want to tell you some things about functions in Python. So let first let's make a function, and I'm gonna make it first. I'm gonna pass a message to this function, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to print that message. Okay, now what you can do in Python is that you can assign this function to another variable, or you can say that you can bound this function to some other name. Now let's just assign this to some other variable. Let's say second equal to first, and what we can do is we can now pass that same function or same value here, and it is printing hi. So what it does is that, wait a second, yeah, so what it does is that everything that is associated with this variable, with this function, is now bounded with this name also. So you can have the same function with two names basically. Okay, now the next thing that I need to tell you is that you can pass a function into another function in Python. So let's see that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two functions. Add, I'm gonna pass y, and I'm gonna return x plus y. Now I will add, I will subtract, and I will pass this. Now return x minus y. And now I'm going to create another function, third, let's say third function. And what I'm going to pass in this here, I'm going to pass a function. I'm going to pass x, and I'm going to pass y. And what I'm going to do is that I am going to add or subtract based on this. So what I can do is print, and I will use func, and I will pass x and y in this. Now what I will do is I can do this third add comma x comma y. This add is this. Okay, and now let's run it. Okay, so it is saying x is not defined, which is fine. Let's take x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 4. Okay, now it is showing 9. You can also pass the subtract function here, and it will subtract. So this is one. Another thing that you can do with function is that you can also return a function from a function. So let's see that. Let's take def first function. Okay, and from this function I'm going to create another function def second. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print hello. After that I'm going to return second. Okay, so here we have a nested function, and I am returning this function when we call this function. So let's run this. Wait a second. Yeah, now if I what I will do is I will create third. Let's take not let's take new. New is equal to first, and what it is going to do now, if I will use new and give the bracket, basically I will call the new function, then it is going to print hello because it returned this function. So now new is bounded to second. Okay, so let's just run it, and it is printing hello. So these are the some things that I wanted to tell you about before what do we say decorators. Now let's get into the decorator. As I told you earlier that decorators are used to add extra functionality to our given code. So let's do that. So I am going to, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a function which is I'm gonna call make, or you can say functionality functionality, and in this I'm going to pass some function now. Okay, yeah, in this I need to pass some function. I'm going to create some other function inside this function. In this I'm going to print, and I will write I dot decorated. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this function which we have passed here. Okay, so now the next step would be to inner return inner. And when we call, oh, let's make an ordinary function. Let's ordinary, and what I'm going to do is I am I am ordinary. So if we call ordinary, it is going to print I am ordinary. But if we pass this function into this function, which is add functionality, what it is going to do, this function is called before that this line will also run. So you can, by this way you can add extra functionality, and you will your doubts will clear in just a minute. So let me just run it, and what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to call add functionality, and in this I'm gonna pass ordinary. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make another function like let's say extra, for extra functionality or things like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna run this. Now what happened is that we have returned inner here, so inner is now bounded to extra variable or extra name. And in this inner function we are going to first print decorated, and then we will print ordinary. Basically we will call ordinary function. Okay, so now let's just call extra. Oh, second. And as you can see here, it is showing I got decorated and I am ordinary. So it is showing both the values, means you just added some extra code to this thing. Now you must be thinking that it is very difficult, like, oh, first you need to do this, first you need to create another function which is like still okay, but you also need to use this line. Okay, so what can you do? In these cases we use decorators. The things we did are user defined decorators, but how decorators are used using the specific Python keyword, I'm gonna tell you now. Let's make a function def, and what I'm going to do, you will also see the extra functionality part here. Smart function. Okay, in this I'm going to pass a function as usual, and it is going to be a division function. So let's say def inner, and in this what I'm going to do, I'm going to print. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to print is like I am a extra function, and oh, I also need to take some values here. Let's say a comma b, and if b is equal to 0, print cannot divide, and I'm going to return. And else what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this function, and in this I'm going to pass a and b. And now the next thing is, yeah, we did this. Now we will create some normal function, let's say def, and in this I will pass a comma b, and we will just return simply uh, or you can yeah, we will just return a divided by b. So let's suppose you have already created this function and you want to use it as it is, but in some part of the program you also want to you also want to give it some extra functionality in just in some part of the program. So you do not want to write this code again, and this is a very small example. So if you take a big example, then that will be very useful. And in that case you don't have to write the your same code in some other function, and you can just add some functionality to that previous code. So this is the main concept behind this. Now how can you use, let's take an example. So last time when we did this, we got a decorator. Okay, now we are not going to use this, and instead of this what we are going to do, I am going to use at the rate, and I am going to write smart underscore function, and when I will call div, and I will pass a comma b. Okay, so a comma b is not available. Let's say 4. Let's say 9 comma 4. And oh yeah. Okay, wait a second, guys. I have to check what is the problem here. So oh yeah, we did not return, and enough. We have to return the this function. Uh, let's just do this, and yeah, as you can see here, it is showing I am an extra function, and it is giving us the output. Now if you provide 0 here, uh, then it is showing I'm an extra function and it cannot divide. So this was it about decorator, guys, and I hope that you understood all the concept behind decorator which I told you this in this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.